Okay, guys, welcome to URBONUS podcast. I'm the host, Donatas URBONUS, and Rytis Vyšniauskas, my colleague, my co-host. We are here in EuroBasket in Berlin after the crazy 8 final experience. And Rytis, probably you're going to agree with me that it was the best 8 finals we probably ever had in FIBA competition, right?
Yeah, ever since FIBA went with this format, because in the past it was like group stage and the second group stage and then quarterfinals.
Okay, even including World Cup 8 finals, for example.
Yeah. From the very beginning, the very first game, Turkey-France, and then everything, what happened later was so exciting. And we have a huge upset already. We had some drama. We had
comebacks.
An overtime thriller. We had everything.
I mean, even the odds of the tournament were challenged by, let's say, smaller teams. Belgium, even Montenegro managed to come back. I mean, it was amazing experience. A lot of stuff was happening also behind the scenes. And for sure, we're going to discuss the highlights of the 8 finals. And before we start, our partners Courtside 1891 has a special offer for you. You can watch EuroBasket 2022 live or on demand on Courtside 1891 with a EuroBasket pass. You can watch all of the knockout phase for 30% less than the original event pass price. So please enjoy Courtside 1891. Yeah, a lot of things to discuss, a lot of dramas, crazy results, like almost all 4 Sundays games finish at the same result. But for sure, probably the biggest upset that shook up the tournament was Serbia failing to qualify to quarterfinals and being eliminated by Italy. Yeah. And I mean, it's even hard to choose from where we should start, because we had coach Gianmarco Pozzecco ejected. Then we had him trying to return to the floor in the end of the fourth quarter. I don't know if you saw on TV.
I did.
Oh, because when I went to the mixed zone, which is like a restricted area for journalists, for the flash interviews, I heard somebody just screaming and shouting. You know, it was very weird. It felt like that something was in pain, and I was like, maybe some Italian journalists were screaming because they were happy. I'm looking around, there are no Italian media members. Okay, and I just look at the court level and I see Gianmarco Pozzecco on knees, shouting, screaming, almost crying, do something. And it felt like that security tried to stop him, but it turned out it was Italian national team representatives tried to avoid any possible penalties, both probably on and off the floor, because you cannot return to the court when you're ejected. Yeah. So,
well, there's a reason he's the atomic fly.
Yes.
And I call him the Gennaro Gattuso of basketball. Like, you can find some similarities.
I agree, a lot of similarities.
So much passion for the game. As a basketball player, he was very passionate. As a coach, also very passionate. And I think I saw a tweet from one of his former players that played for him.
Miro Bilan. Probably.
Yeah, Miro Bilan, the Croatian guy.
Yeah.
That he was ejected 8 times
in Sassari,
in Sassari Dinamo, Sardinia, and all 8 games they won.
Yeah,
with the assistant coach taking over the wheel. Yeah. So, is it like some sort of master plan that if things are going wrong, I'm going to do my part?
No, but the assistant coach told that they're going to try to protect him, from being ejected.
But he said you need like 12 UFC fighters to protect him. That was his quote from the press conference.
Pozzecco was crazy. It's a pity that he didn't come to the official press conference, because I thought that it's gonna be a whole different event, show some
he was in the mix zone, right?
He was only in the mix zone for some reason, and he even took our colleagues. He took his cheeks.
Yeah, he did
twice.
He did this to him.
He was just screaming Italy randomly. He was putting all these crazy quotes. He gave a credit card for his players to celebrate after the game.
Yeah.
I mean,
and another highlight that he jumped straight to Giannis' arms, like you know when you come back from a long trip, business trip, for example, and your wife is there meeting you in the airport, and you just see children. You haven't seen her for like 3 months. So you're going to run straight to her and she's going to jump right into you. That's what Pozzecco did with Giannis.
Giannis is so huge because Pozzecco looked like just a kid, you know.
But Giannis seemed so happy and joyful to have the Italian coach in his arms.
Man, I was
that's
worried.
a great
I mean,
moment.
because Giannis had some knee issues and some guy is just randomly coming at you like an NFL player. I mean, that was dangerous play. That was dangerous play.
Listen, I mean, we're gonna get to basketball details
course.
probably and talk about Italy later. First of all, we should talk about Serbia, in my opinion. We had complaints actually during the tournament that we didn't cover the Serbian team enough. And the reason for that was obvious. They had an easy group stage. In Group D, they had no competition. And in my opinion, that's a problem. Life was just too easy for them in Prague. And all of a sudden, you're going to play a knockout game against a pretty solid and talented Italian team. Even though they don't have a true center, they compensate with other things that they do on the court. So it's not that good to go into the knockout stage without going through any adversities. They were beating all those teams in Group D by 20 or 30 points effortless. So maybe that was one of the reasons why they had problems.
Yeah, I was about to ask it Vasilij Micic before the game, but he couldn't come to the mix zone because at one, looking from one standpoint, okay, they didn't have the real test, which might be, a concern before the knockout stage. At the same time, they had all these injury problems. They also have some load management stuff they had to do for the main players. So at least they had this privilege, to keep players rested. Because meanwhile, for example, Luka Doncic, most of these games were really tough for him physically. Let's start with that. He had, crazy back-to-back performances, and it can really hit your fatigue. And Serbia had this privilege just to cruise past this group stage. So I thought that maybe, okay, there are some disadvantages, but at the same time, advantages. But from what we saw on the court, I mean, everything went well in the most part of the first half. I mean...
but not necessarily.
12?
Yes,
I mean, Jokic was just
but
destroying the paint.
But the huge problem was the second unit. The minutes that they played with Milutinov were so bad. He was attacked by Italians with their pick and pop all the time. Melli was hitting buckets.
Bigs were attacked.
Yeah, they don't have a mobile big.
Roster.
Jokic is also being attacked, but the thing is, Jokic is dominating on offense.
They should have tried to play Kalinic at 5. I don't know. I mean,
something
to look
else.
For some
Milutinov,
options,
after all his injuries, he lost all of his mobility. I mean, and the second unit was terrible, honestly.
But we also have to emphasize that they have a lot of injury problems.
Yes,
some players were back and forth, and it was also what kind of shortened their rotation. This is also important to address, but
I mean,
only one of the excuses.
So yeah, defensively they had a lot of issues with Italy because Italy always have 5 shooters on the court, and
they were popping all the time.
They're popping. Nicolo Melli was amazing. Also, Achille Polonara, he hit some difficult shots actually, and Simone Fontecchio. I'm just falling in love with him every single time he steps on a basketball court. What a player! What a leader! And they're playing without Danilo Gallinari, but when you see Fontecchio and the fire in his eyes, you're thinking they're good with him as long as he's there. They're capable of winning game against any of these elite teams. And of course, Marcos Pisu, out of nowhere, 22
just
points,
like to ensure the same. I mean, out of nowhere, 6 of 9 3-point shooting, but
and 6 assists also.
I actually loved Nicola Melli a lot. We know that he's very skilled offensively, but he was good defensively. He made some huge blocks. He was physical. He put all of his strength trying to stop Jokic. No surprise, he was fouled out like Gianpaolo Ricci and other guys. I mean, Italy was very physical, and I mean, they weren't afraid of Serbs, but we are praising Italian team, and for sure there was some luck behind it, and it completely reminded me 2004 Athens Olympics semifinal game, Lithuania,
16
Italy.
3-pointers.
Now they hit 16, then they hit 18. Pozzecco also was here, 17 points. Recalcati was the head coach of the team. Now he's the assistant coach of the team. I mean,
I think even those legendary Italian players were watching the game in Berlin. Like,
oh really? Basile?
I think
Galanda?
so. Meneghin was there.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. So even the whole game, I mean, if you remember, Lithuania also had a solid lead in the first half, but Italians, they were always close.
Yeah.
And I told my colleagues, I didn't remember, it was Jonas or Lucas, this game reminds me a lot of 2004 because they're still, keeping close, they're making threes, and especially they got confidence in the end of the second quarter when Jokic was benched, and they made some three-pointers. And for me, it was kind of a turning point because when at the end of the game, you look at the stat sheet and you see Nikola Jokic playing 28 minutes. I mean, he's one of the best players in the tournament. And every time he was on the floor, okay, Italians tried to expose him through pick and pops. But offensively, he was just unstoppable.
Yeah,
every time,
drawing fouls.
it was foul or open look shot. And okay, at some point, they needed to rest him. But you cannot afford him to rest for 12 minutes in a 40-minute game. And yes. I also missed a lot playing through him more in the fourth quarter. Not just playing through him more, just having him on the court, because it was that turning point in the end of the third quarter and the beginning of the fourth quarter when Italians, got this confidence and got this lead. I mean, you cannot rest your best player for so long, and especially when your bench really sucks that night. It was a bad day for a lot of role players, not only the bench guys. So, I mean, I think that it was a huge mistake by Coach Pesic to have this very low usage of the best player on the court, which you can just give him the ball and just play through him, through his passing, through his shots, through his post game. I mean, it was a great game for Nikola. He was feeling well. He was making 3-1 from logo. I mean, it was an amazing performance.
15 free throws.
15 free throws. And in the fourth quarter, he had only 3 field goals and 4 free throws. It's crazy.
Not enough touches. I agree with you on that.
And you can say that, okay, he was always attacked and, 3 is more than 2. But
your other option is Milutinov. So
exactly.
It's not like you're
Milutinov
solving anything
or
with Milutinov.
Jagotic Kuric. And I mean, his plus minus, Nikola's plus minus was plus 11. So he wasn't exposed.
I agree with you. He should have played 35, 36 minutes. You can check Milutinov in the first half, but immediately I saw that Milutinov in this game is going to be destroyed because on offense, he didn't do anything except from one pick and roll action that he finished with a dunk. And on defense, they were in a terrible situation. His plus minus is minus 19 in 11 minutes.
He played 11 minutes.
Yes.
Wow.
Almost 12 minutes, actually. Yeah. So I agree with you about Jokic playing time. But the other problem is, okay, Italians are hitting threes. You could see that happening, right? But the Serbian team has enough talent to win in a high-scoring basketball game.
Yeah.
Jokic has his numbers, but the supporting cast didn't deliver. Vasa Micic, EuroLeague MVP, did not deliver. You can look at 16 points and 8 assists, but look at his field goal percentage.
Even Kalinic, I mean, he had 12 points.
A lot of spot-up shots were missed.
Defensively, he was also different than in the EuroLeague.
Lucic missed some spot-up shots. Vasa missed
Guduric
a lot.
Was miserable. 0 from 5.
He missed everything. He couldn't get a bucket. So the supporting cast did not deliver. And obviously, you have a very good team, but when you're seeing stuff like that happening on the court, you're thinking, man, they need Bogdanovic and Nemanja Bjelica.
Yeah.
So with these two guys, they would be unbeatable.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and in my eyes,
even in this group, they should have won the game.
Yes, for sure, I agree with you. And in my eyes, there's no other way. Svetislav Pesic has to either step down or the Basketball Federation has to make a decision.
Because we're talking about, being short of men, but I mean, Italians, they played with 6 or 7 guys on the court. So, they also had the same issue. But I completely agree with you because I don't remember if we discussed it on our podcast before the tournament or it was said in Lithuanian podcast, but we said that the main thing that might stop this team could be Coach Pesic. Why? Because he likes to play, let's say, to put his system into the game and to play according to his rules. And honestly, when you have players like Vasilija Micic and Nikola Jokic, you don't need any system, really. I mean, just give them the ball, just do what Ataman does in FS. You have enough physical presence defensively and offensively, I mean, you're done. And play more through Nikola Jokic. And at the same time, don't kill them. I mean, from what I heard, probably it was also said in Serbian media, I didn't read it, but I mean, they had really exhausting training camp and also just exhausting trainings during the competition. And from what I heard, the team was happy. The atmosphere was great. Everything was cool. But players, they already felt exhausting during the group stage. And man, you're having this privilege. Okay, maybe it was also influenced by injuries, players being back and forth. Maybe some of the guys had to play more minutes because of that. But at the same time, I mean, you have this privilege to improve your game steadily during the group stage. You don't need to put all your best like we had in this group of death. How, in what world you're doing this with this team and in national team competition? You're not building your players for the whole season. So I think it also comes from the, old school mentality of Coach Pesic, because all these coaches, they really focus on physical preparation, making these guys physically prepared. And even in the press conference, he said that, his players were like not in the best shape, not physically ready to match, Italy, who was playing fast, sharing the ball quickly. And maybe they didn't get this idea because maybe it was just his, let's say, problem of communicating his ideas in English. Because at first, man, he said that Serbians lack physicality. And one journalist asked, "What do you mean you lack physicality? Italy played small ball, and you're
they don't have a center. They don't have a center."
Exactly. So he explained that they felt like fatigued and not in the, let's say, physical shape by saying physicality.
Really strange.
But at the same time, it really sounds strange.
Well, from what you're saying, I get the impression that there were some bad decisions in the whole preparation process, right? Because I couldn't imagine, for example, Coach Sekulic pushing Luka to his limits. That wouldn't work. That wouldn't do good. Exactly. And Nikola Jokic, I mean, he had a good tournament in numbers, but he's a top 3 player of the tournament and probably of the world. He was not used enough. Although after that spectacular 3-1 play, I really thought that Serbians might still come back and win the game. However, after that, they continued to play desperation ball. A lot of terrible drives to the paint by Vasa, missed spot-up shots. They couldn't get back on defense.
Yeah, some other players playing hero ball.
And Fontecchio just closed the game with the end one eventually. So, we've discussed the problems of the Serbian team. Maybe we should talk a little bit about Italy. Yeah, so
just to conclude, we need a different type of coach for this
team.
Sure. It was already a red flag because, I mean, with all the respect, the age, we shouldn't judge people because of their age, but
because of their approach
also says a lot about their mentality, approach, and having this young generation who likes to play this, basketball with a lot of freedom because they have enough skill and creativity to, just decide the game the way they want. You have to have a different approach. You have to have a different connection with the players. As we said, there's no need to just kill them physically in the preparation camp. Just do what Slovenians does. I mean, the approach had to be different. So usually you need a younger coach who feels players better, who feels this different era of players better. And this old school basketball, it doesn't really work.
I agree with you only to some extent. Age is not a problem here.
No,
approach is the problem.
There is Aito Garcia and says, for example.
There is Ettore Messina. When he came back from NBA, he's full of new ideas. Željko Obradović, he reads the modern game.
It's not the age,
he understands the modern players.
Still being in that old era.
I won all of my medals. I have all these credentials. You have to respect me. I'm the authority. I'm gonna kick Milos Teodosic out of the team. All that stuff. And I get it.
Don't get us wrong. Pesic is a great coach, one of the best all-time coaches, especially in the FIBA competitions.
And he will be in the Hall of Fame and everything.
But not the rightest fit for this particular team with such a huge talent on the court. So,
but who is the great fit? It's Gianmarco Pozzecco for Italy. Players got so passionate after that ejection, after everything that happened, he didn't just leave the court.
Oh, yeah.
He left the court kissing his players and waving to the fans. And
he hugged every player.
Yes.
He kissed every player. Then,
Yes.
for some reason, he shared high fives with Serbian players. He also kissed Predrag Danilovic.
Yes,
I
he
mean,
did.
and it's Pozzecco's way. I mean, if it was Ataman, maybe he was like doing the cuff thing and just leave. Okay, sit on the bench for like few minutes and then just leave.
No, the
And
difference with him and Ataman is that Ataman will get ejected when his team is down by 20 and he's just angry about what's happening. Gianmarco Pozzecco was ejected when they were down by 6 or something like that. It was still a close game, but he was really unhappy about
to be
the
honest,
refs.
we were sure that he won't survive the game because
After the first
got
technical, very early.
like in second minute of the game.
Yeah.
Then he was still usually after the technical, you kind of try to be calmer, try to go with a different approach. I thought that he will be ejected in the first half.
You could bet money on him being ejected.
Although we have to address this issue. I mean, I don't get these technical fouls. I mean, especially when the bench is celebrating and one. Okay, for sure, sometimes there might be some remarks. Oh, maybe the foul should have been earlier, but you cannot, call the technical at that
Yesterday,
situation.
in 4 games, there were like total of 12 technicals.
It felt like there was some order from the top, just
if they're complaining, just punish them.
Yeah.
But, I mean, come on.
Let them play. Let them.
I remember game
emotions.
Croatia-Finland. We're gonna talk about that game in detail later. But early on, they gave the first technical to the bench, then a technical to Damir Molomerovic, then technical to one of the Croatian players like Bojan Bogdanovic. And Greece, Czech Republic, the same. So I don't get it. I don't get it. Why?
And especially I feel very angry about that because we were in the group stage in Cologne.
Yeah.
We saw Luka Doncic. I mean, Luka Doncic is talking with referees for the entire game. Let's be honest, not in the most polite way. He's sometimes shouting
he's
at
trying
them.
to be polite, but
Sometimes he's barking at them. Sometimes he's trying to be polite. Ironic. There's a lot of different emotions. But in my eyes...
He didn't get a T. Not a single one.
I think he got one. He got one. I think it was one of the last games, and it was not during the game. He was just going to the bench. There was a timeout, and of course, Luka had to say something to the referees.
Yeah, I remember.
And he got
one
technical foul. Then we see these teams, these guys, and as soon as they, let's say, explode a little bit, it's directly technical foul. And I just don't get it. And I completely agree that there's a different treatment. I'm not sure about these calls because these are best players in the world, like Luka, Giannis, Jokic, and you kind of cannot let them, opponents to kill them and to be more physical than usual. And okay, I can agree that some calls, especially when we saw like what was happening with Jokic, every time Italy big men like Meli or
they were
Gianpaolo,
trying to just push him out of the paint, but some of those calls were definitely star calls. But this is a different topic.
Yeah,
we're gonna discuss about the star calls. I still want to stay with Italy for a little bit. I mean, technical fouls is just a part of the story.
Yeah.
This team is built to play beautiful offensive basketball based on great ball movement because they don't have the instruments to be a defensive team. But these guys are clicking together. Like Nico Mannion is not having a good tournament. All of a sudden, Marcos Pisu steps up. The bigs, they can shoot the free. We know that. And they do their part. I mean, Polonara and Meli both together hit 6 3-pointers from 13.
They're just very uncomfortable opponent. And for example,
for
the game
those
against
teams
France,
that play with bigs that are not very mobile,
and they're gonna play against France. I mean,
France could have some problems. Although Rudy Gobert is not Milutinov and not Jokic.
That's a huge improvement. With Sampdoria, I mean, they have
for us, for example, for Lithuania, Italy would be a nightmare with Valanciunas on the court.
Oh yeah, and Sabonis.
So listen, it's a team based on good ball movement, great chemistry,
a lot of passion
and passion. Yes, that's what you love to see.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is the team you want to cheer for, really.
I agree with you, man. I don't think, they have certain limits and a ceiling, and I don't see them winning a medal.
It's hard to predict them.
But France right now, France is a beatable team, so in the quarterfinal, a lot of things could happen. But another funny thing from this game was watching Vincent Collet in the stands. Like, France, they went through so much, and people were saying, yeah, they made it to the quarterfinals, but they're gonna face Serbia, and it's not gonna be a good matchup. Jokic against Gobert, blah blah blah. But Nikola is just sitting there watching the game. Oh, Italy, we don't have to play Serbia. I don't think he's underestimating Italy, but it's all of a sudden a good situation for France.
What I love so much, if you remember, when France was playing against Lithuania, there was this idea: if they lose the last 2 games, they will be 4th, and potentially they will have the easier bracket.
Yeah,
and they decided to go all in for the win.
Yeah,
and this is what Evan Fournier also said, and they just decided to play the right way. And then, and we kind of were sure that they're gonna meet Serbia. And then look what we have. They played the right way, and now they're facing Italy in quarterfinals. And what happened to Croatia? They tried. Okay, they didn't do any, let's say, criminal stuff.
They didn't lose on purpose.
Yeah, they didn't lose on purpose.
Boyan just had to miss a free throw.
But I like this thing of, the ball don't lie. So, they lost in the 8th finals.
So do you want to move to that game, Croatia-Finland?
I just want to finish this referees topic, probably, yeah. Or we kind of discussed it.
You love talking about the refs, right?
No, I hate. And, I'm so glad.
Just do your part.
The whole quality and the whole excitement of these games kind of, not just kind of, overshadowed a lot of problems we have. But just the last thing to address, besides Luka's treatment, and of course, for sure, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for these comments from Slovenian fans, but probably you're aware that I'm a driver of Luka's bandwagon. I mean, I love him.
I don't think you're a driver. I think I have the license here, and
really?
I'm driving.
I thought that you're on Mike James bandwagon.
Well,
so you cannot drive 2 cars.
Mike James is a EuroLeague star.
Okay, so now we're talking.
He doesn't have any impact on FIBA or.
I have a front seat.
Yeah, but you're still in the passenger seat. I think I'm driving. Well, we can switch. Like tomorrow, you can drive.
You said that France will win the tournament, so
that was the prediction. But
so you're driving them to the wrong destination.
No, I mean that's the prediction. But the player I support is Luka Doncic, and one of the reasons why I support him so much. Because I always love these geniuses in their own world where they don't need that much effort to be very good. Because I'm not the guy who cheers for the perfect athlete.
You're not cheering for Giannis.
I love Giannis, but he's not like my favorite player.
Yeah.
I always cheer for guys that play based on their IQ. And outside of basketball, they're just chill. Like Boris Diaw, one of my favorite players of all time, because of his approach. And Luka Doncic is kind of similar to that. Yeah, you can talk about his personality, that he's always complaining to the refs and all that stuff, but he puts up a show. I love the show. I love the entertainment. Everything that he does. Edo Muric hits the free, he's cooking, and everything that he does on the court.
That's how basketball should be played. That's why we're coming to gyms.
Yeah, he's playing like he's on the street. He's enjoying basketball. He loves basketball. And obviously he wants to win. So yeah.
The last thing to address, we should do something about the rule book. The unsportsmanlike fouls. Yeah. Because, we kind of get that idea that you cannot be too aggressive with making fouls when you're down by 1, 2, or 3, and it's the last seconds of the game. But at the same time, if you remember the first game on Saturday, I think that 3 or 4 games were kind of almost killed just because of that. The players made a quick foul, didn't touch the ball. They do the video review. Oh, it's unsportsmanlike foul, and you shoot 2 free throws, you have the ball. The game is over, as it's supposed to be with Turkey and France game. I mean, it shouldn't be that way. We all know that it's going to be intentional foul, but we cannot... And, referees are doing according to the playbook, according to the rule book. We all know it's going to be intentional foul, but just don't make it like, oh, you must touch the ball. Because every time you see the opponent coming at you, for sure he's going to foul you. Just spin like this, he won't touch the ball, and it's... What is unsportsmanlike foul?
Yeah, those are stupid rules, and they just go against the spirit of the game. And I think this needs to be changed. This should have been changed years ago.
Let us have these situations where you still have a chance to make a buzzer.
A lot of people watch basketball for entertainment, they expect to see buzzer beaters. And FIBA, they will continue to promote the EuroBasket in promo clips using Diamantidis game winner against France, Dirk Nowitzki game winner against Spain over Jorge Garbajosa. these moments will live forever. So you should do everything that you have more of these buzzer beaters and game winners. But these rules with unsportsmanlike fouls, they don't leave you the opportunity to win by the last shot, usually. So I completely agree with you. I think every basketball person agrees, whether it's a player or a coach or a journalist, nobody wants to see these unsportsmanlike fouls.
They do video reviews for like 2 or 3 minutes.
The unsportsmanlike foul, in my opinion, is something when you can hurt your opponent, you can injure somebody. Like when Rudy Gobert is jumping up and someone's pushing him in the back, like what happened in Turkey-France game.
Very dangerous
It's
play.
an unsportsmanlike foul. It's like in NBA terms, like flagrant 1 or flagrant 2. But these intentional fouls, I mean, come on, man. Everybody knows that the player with the ball is going to be fouled. Just let him
Behind all
decide
calls,
themselves.
There should be feel of the game, feel of the situation.
Yes, the spirit of the game. I love the term from football, the spirit of the game. But sometimes these unsportsmanlike fouls don't clinch the win for you.
Wow. I mean,
Turkey, France, man.
I mean,
what happened there?
12 seconds to play. You're up by 2. You have 2 free throws and the ball in your hands. I feel so bad for Cedi Osman. I mean,
2019 against USA.
I cannot imagine how
he
he had any sleep that night. Probably not.
Probably didn't.
Yeah.
But
painful loss. I mean, Tuncer, who had an amazing game, maybe the game of his life.
He became the new Ibrahim Kutlay of Turkey. Like
Clay Thompson, as I said.
He was 6
naturalized
6.
Clay Thompson. Larkin was out, so they brought Clay Thompson.
But we didn't expect anything from this game. Like after Larkin's injury, after all the problems with Turkey and Tbilisi,
they were not convincing.
We thought that France, they will win it. They will win confidently by a solid margin. But no, all of a sudden, we witnessed Vincent Collet's team collapsing in the second half, and Turkey had a game in their pocket. They just needed.
Finally, they hit shots. Okay,
and
it's crazy how they hit shots. If
where the points were coming from.
But they have good looks, and they had some good looks before, and especially in the first half. And maybe it was related to the early time, and I was kind of surprised. I didn't even think about it. But Evan Fournier gave me this quote that, they really had good looks, just couldn't connect all those shots, and maybe it's connected to the early time because you still cannot use your legs. The focus is different, and what was interesting that, for example, Evan Fournier, I mean, we can remind you that they played at 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock.
It's super early because they had to leave the hotel at 9:45, something like that. And Evan Fournier, for example, he has some eye issues early in the morning. So for that game, he had to woke up earlier because his eyes needs to adjust to some light. And for that, he also had to play video games like Mario Go-Karts or something.
That's a nice excuse to play video games.
Exactly. And it helped him. He made some very important shots.
He missed some very important shots. He's not having a very good tournament.
Yeah. But when when it's needed, he's making all those shots.
My takes from this game are Turkey just randomly had a chance to win it and go to the quarterfinals. France, in my opinion, Vincent Collet made some mistakes. He could have gone to switch all defense with Rudy Gobert a lot earlier and avoid those Tuncer's 3-pointers with the drop coverage, because Gobert had 4 personal fouls and he just stayed on the court for 15 minutes straight with 4 fouls, switching all the time. Turkey didn't have good ball handlers, so you can easily switch with Gobert. You can even switch with foul. It's not a problem.
Yeah, he's not that bad on switching.
So they could have avoided this situation, but France, they have a problem with turnovers in this tournament, and the other teams facing France, they always score a lot of points from their turnovers, and I don't know why, but France has a huge problem with third quarters.
36 points from turnovers by Turkey.
And France has a huge problem with third quarters. They play the first half usually, and they're leading after 2 quarters. It's what happened in the group stage with Bosnia and Herzegovina, for example. And the third quarter is some sort of black hole for them. I don't know what happens during that time. Of course, this French team needs another ball handler. They're lacking another ball handler. Fournier is not very consistent, and you're depending on Thomas Hurtel. So,
And we also had to mention Rudy Gobert. I mean, he was like a life insurance. I think that from the fourth quarter until the end of the overtime, he had like he grabbed like 11 rebounds. It was like 5 or 6 offensive rebounds. And we can remember all these super important tip-ins, put-back dunks, and he just saved their asses because they were missing a lot, and he just grabbed like 5 offensive rebounds and
his
made
best
all these
game of the
layups.
tournament so far. Yeah.
He was super important for French team. 20 points, 17 rebounds. Amazing game for Rudy Gobert.
The funny thing is, after Osman's missed free throws, Turkey was still in an okay position. They have the ball and they're up by 2. And they were inbounding the ball. And they did inbound to the chair. And he was fouled. But the ref says, the clock didn't start, man. You have to do it again. And
that was huge.
And what happened then? They lost the ball.
That was huge.
They lost the ball. Fournier went for a floater, which usually is an easy floater for him. It was kind of short, but Gobert was there and he did the putback.
Yeah, and I actually missed that situation because I was in the mix zone.
Yes.
Because for the end of the game, you have to be in the mix zone like earlier.
Yes.
So we have to go through a
could have been a
tunnel.
different story if not for the clock issues.
Exactly. Because I thought that it was a huge mistake before when Korkmaz was sent to shoot 3 free throws. And, an extra point was kind of stolen.
A painful loss for Turkey, but in the end, I think France is a better team. And for the quality of the competition, it's a good thing that France went through because France can go to the finals and you wouldn't be surprised. Turkey...
If Turkey had Shane Larkin, I wouldn't agree with you. But
to me, what they did in this game was kind of random. Like
and it was their ceiling. I think that they just hit their ceiling. And let's be honest, France is not the best opponent in the tournament. Yeah. But they're growing, they're upgrading their game, and they're improving a little bit.
And
Rudy Gobert, for example, you can compare him in the beginning of the tournament and now. I mean, he's different, Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes with Fournier. They're missing better ball handlers because Thomas Hurtel is probably one playmaker you can really trust.
They might be one Nando De Colo away from winning the gold medal.
Yeah. And especially with these upsets that are happening around them.
What I love about Italy-France quarterfinal is the fact that these are 2 of my favorite national anthems.
That's true. It's the pre-game you must be, in the arena.
Yes.
What else do we have?
Croatia-Finland. I want to talk about this game.
We can go through all
Croatia-Finland
games, the rest of the games, a bit quickly.
What's up with Mario Hezonja? What the fuck is wrong with him?
Are you really surprised?
I mean, I expected something from him in the tournament. He was terrible. His body language was terrible. Not only him, most of these guys in Team Croatia. I can only say some positive words about Simon, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Jalen Smith, even though he's an American, but he was there for the team. The other guys, I mean, some of them are okay. They are just not that great players, but like Hezonja.
And it's really strange because he's coming off the season in Kazan where Kazan surprisingly clicked together. Just like Lorenzo Brown told that season he had probably the best atmosphere he ever had in the club competition, and Hezonja was part of it. So I thought that, that's the reason why I put them high in my rankings before the competition. I thought that Hezonja, all the other guys, Šarić, they're already matured enough to click together finally, to sacrifice their egos and just to build a good chemistry. And the chemistry was, they didn't have any fights, they didn't have any conflicts. And from what I heard, these NBA guys took care of the rest of the team very nicely, But of course, they weren't a family, we saw it on the court. And just as always, they missed something to click. They have enough talent to go to the semifinals, but they just never click as a team.
And I have to say I'm disappointed with Damir Mulaverovic and his coaching. You should have a plan for a team that's based on one player. And his whole idea against Lauri Markkanen was that I'm just going to switch bodies and try all these different players. I will try Šarić, I will try Bogdanovic, I will try Hezonja even for a short period of time. And you're just leaving Markkanen to do his stuff one-on-one all the time. And Lauri Markkanen... the Larry Bird from Vanta, as I call him, he could have.
So he's more of Larry Bird for you than Dirk Nowitzki. He
actually did Dirk in this game. In this game, a little bit of both.
Yeah, because Dirk's career high is also 43 in EuroBasket history.
He could have gone for 50 in this game or even more. He finished the game with a very high field goal percentage.
9 of 29.
I can check.
66.
19 of 29, right?
Yeah, 66.
So listen, he's a great player. He's a star on the FIBA court, but you need to have a plan for him. You know that other guys, they can shoot, like Sasu Salin and everybody else. Croatia is not a very good defensive team. Okay, I get that. But still, you need to make some decisions during the game. If something's not working, you need to try some other ideas. You need to have your plan A, plan B, plan C, and plan D prepared. Like Finland's going to play Spain in the quarterfinals. Can you imagine Scariolo watching Markkanen going for 40 and just sitting there like, oh, man, there's nothing we can do.
Then you mentioned coaching and game planning. I mean, that's the coach you can trust to try to stop and to contain Lauri Markkanen. I mean, kudos to Finland fans. Huge
oh my God, huge shout out.
Amazing win for Lauri Markkanen. I love coach Lassi Tuovi. I mean, it's a perfect achievement for them, but I cannot wait for quarterfinals because Sergio Scariolo is the guy who will bring so much creativity in ways how it's possible to stop and to contain Lauri Markkanen, because that's what we saw. That we saw his masterpiece against Lithuania. I mean, we're not biased. I mean, and I think that we're looking at the situation from both camps. But Lithuania was more talented team than Spain,
on paper.
Deeper team than Spain on paper. But what Scariolo did. Limiting our bigs at first. They couldn't get the ball in good positions. Valanciunas played his worst game. He couldn't be on the floor because he was always exposed offensively. Then what he did with Marius Grigonis is just isolating him and just, forcing him to forget all those great games he had. I mean, it was a masterpiece. Really. A lot of different variations, like 3, 4, 5 different ways how to stop bigs. Grigonis, I mean, he did good decisions offensively with just giving keys of the car to Lorenzo Brown in the end of the fourth quarter, and he just killed us, But all these role players, they found their spot, like Alberto Diaz, and another amazing performance by him. He actually almost won the game against Turkey with this crazy tip that sent the ball out of bounds because of Shane Larkin touched the ball last one. He also made some great charges in that game. Now he was also very important defensively. He kind of, grabbed Jokubaitis or Lekavic's ankle and just didn't let them feel good, or he just defensively tried to stop Grigonis. I don't know, Rudy Fernandez, my God, 37-year-old guy. He was questionable for the game. He was, again, injured.
But he has a heart of the champion. He has the winner's
making
mentality.
all these clutch three-pointers.
He's a big game player,
Garubo, with these offensive rebounds, I mean, but, it was not a surprise.
Even Alberto Diaz was an X factor with his defense.
Alberto Diaz
the way
was amazing.
He was pressuring the ball handlers.
I love the guy. And he almost didn't make the team because he was one of the final cuts.
So he was cut, but Yul
got injured and he got back.
You could foreseen that Scariolo will use a lot of different defensive systems. That's what he does. That's the way he coaches his team. But still, Lithuania didn't look prepared for the box and one. Box and one, first of all, against Sabonis. Then for a long period of time, box and one against Grigonis. The whole idea for Spain was to limit the touches of our best players, Grigonis and our two bigs. Valanciunas got in foul trouble. That's another topic. So they went with, if Lithuania is going to beat us, let them win by the role players shooting threes. And we were in a good position, actually, up by 11 in the third, and Kuzminskas was getting hot.
We were up by 11,
But the problem with our team is that we cannot afford to go to the last minutes with a close result, because other teams always have a better player in the perimeter, a player that closes the game and kills the game and lives for the clutch, like Lorenzo Dantes Brown. That's what he did. And I think our coach, Kazis Maksvitis, he was late to react to some of Scariolo's decisions. And I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw us starting the overtime with Valanciunas dropping and Brazdeikis covering Lorenzo Dantes Brown, who was with the backdoor cut, getting the end one. And Kazis Maksvitis needed 2 minutes of us suffering to go to Domantas Sabonis and start switching. But that was a bit too late. Lorenzo was in his rhythm. Lorenzo then, his confidence was sky high. He wanted to check himself against an NBA All-Star in an ISO and hit a free. So Sergio Scariolo and Lorenzo Brown killed us. But as you said, other players like Usman Garuba, Villar and Gomez had a great game offensively. But the coach saw that with Garuba, we have better defense and rebounding.
Yeah.
So he went with Garuba. And Villar had no problem with that.
He made this crucial tip-in the end of the regulation that basically saved them. Because if we just got that rebound, we were up by 1, I think.
Yes.
And the game was done, probably. Most likely because they would have fouled
Iggy also had a great tip-in.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that was a crazy game.
Yeah.
That was a crazy game. But again, it just showed me how great Sergio Scariolo is. And I would really put him as probably, I don't know, top 3, top 5 all-time FIBA competition head coaches. Not just because he won EuroBasket 3 times, probably. He also won the World Cup once. Yeah, because the 2006 was with Pepu. But what I want to say, I mean, and everybody can say that, he had this amazing generation of Spanish national teams, Gasol brothers, Rudy at his peak, Sergio Rodriguez, Jose Manuel Calderon, all these amazing players. Yeah, but you cannot take it for granted. Look at Serbia. They had amazing squad. Before we saw a lot of crazy teams. He managed, to join that group, not to disturb them, to do what they can do best on the court and to keep the chemistry and continuity throughout the years. And what I love also the most, that when these players left, were injured or couldn't play, what we saw in the FIBA World Cup, for example, in China, that was a whole different team. And he managed to build a team around Ricky Rubio, and suddenly offensive-minded team became a defensive-minded team.
Yeah, with aging Marc Gasol.
And then we have this group, almost random group of players who never played together. I mean, these are okay ACB level players with some NBA guys like Hernán Gomez brothers. Amazing addition of Lorenzo Brown, veteran Rudy Fernandez. But there's no way it's semifinal team. It's barely quarterfinal team.
It just shows.
But he managed to adjust, to find the strengths of these teams, to somehow to put these role players in their best positions. And they're winning again, and probably they're gonna make their odds to make the semifinals.
They should be in the medal stage,
and they could win the medal if, for example, Slovenia doesn't go to the final. Maybe they're lacking of some motivation. Something happens like it happened last year in Tokyo, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see Spain winning a medal right now. I mean that's part of Sergio Scariolo, and I think that there were a lot of great coaches like Duda Ivkovic, and I think that Scariolo on the list of the most winningest EuroBasket coaches is like third or something. But I mean that's just amazing.
Yeah, it was his masterclass, and probably everybody agrees that in a best of 5 series, Lithuania would beat Spain. This roster, this group of guys in the best of 5. But it's one game. It's a knockout tournament. So in this situation, for Scariolo, the most important thing was to always stay close. Nobody expected Spain to win by 20. But just stay close, and Lorenzo's going to do his stuff in the end of the game. And that's exactly what happened. And it just shows that in this tournament, one elite coach and one elite point guard can do a lot. And they can go really deep.
Yeah, with some right pieces.
And the interesting thing is that, correct me if I'm wrong, Scariolo is leaving the national team after the EuroBasket, or not?
I don't think so. He should stay for
the whole Olympic cycle.
I think so. I think that he leaves after 2024.
I'm just brainstorming. Like, when Scariolo leaves, Pablo Lasso should be the perfect candidate to replace him.
On the end of my tongue, it's like a no-brainer.
I just heard some rumor like he's leaving after this year, but maybe I'm wrong, man.
I mean, you caught me on the spot, but if I remember well, Jorge Garbajosa told that, I think that when he was asked about Pablo Lasso as the potential next coach, he told that, okay, of course, I admire and love Pablo Lasso, but we have Sergio, and he should stay until 2024. He's under the contract.
Okay,
so
fair enough. Yeah. Well, usually that makes sense for somebody to stay, for the coach to stay the whole Olympic cycle. Right. What else?
The last game we have to discuss,
Greece,
Czech Republic. Another amazing campaign by Czech Republic. I mean, I love.
It just shows how he's an underrated coach.
I don't get it why he's not getting a chance at club competition.
But Maccabi's hiring sometimes questionable coaches.
Exactly.
They never went for Ginsburg. Look what he's doing with the Czech Republic team.
What else he has to do to get any recognition at club competition.
They had a very solid game plan. I love the way they were so disciplined to get back on defense and build that wall against Giannis. Even after a missed bucket, it's so hard to get back on defense and just set yourself. But they were building the wall all the time.
There was always
they knew what they were going to give.
Double team and the help coming from the third guy. I mean,
the help
was incredible.
I mean, when you're facing Giannis, the help comes from the weak side and from the strong side. Everyone's in the wall, and you're just suffering.
It was
Vesely had such contacts with Giannis. Probably when if you get hit by a car, it's easier to accept the contact than Giannis.
Physical guy, yeah.
But they knew what they're going to give to Greece. Corner freeze, Papapetru, Papanikolaou, Calathes, they're going to live with that. They were in the game all the time. Satoransky played as a floor general with 17 assists.
He's playing through injury. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Let's remind the fact that if that was Barcelona decision, he wasn't in Barcelona at the moment, but he decided to play through injury. I mean, amazing performance, 17 assists, another EuroBasket record.
Huge respect to Czech Republic. Nobody expected them actually to win the game, but
and to be in the game with like 4 minutes to play, it's just amazing.
They did all the right stuff, and offensively as well. I mean, offensively, that's the magic of FIBA tournaments. Players that are not elite on club level, like Ruban, Auda, Balvin, they always step up for their national team.
Yeah.
And when you're watching them playing here, you're thinking maybe he could play in the EuroLeague.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, he couldn't. But here, it's working. They have a clear system, clear principles of the way they want to play. And that's a really solid basketball team. However, Greece, what I love about Giannis right now, he's so calm. In 2019, he was desperate to start dominating right from the very beginning, to go through all those walls and just start dunking and always getting offensive fouls. Right now, he doesn't care about the numbers. He knows that it's going to come naturally. After the first half, I was covering the game. Giannis was like with 4 or 6 points.
4 points.
And I said to my colleague on air, don't you worry about that. He's going to finish the game with his usual numbers. Because the basketball game is long, and that's what Giannis learned growing and maturing as a player. And another good thing that Itoudis did, defense with Papa Giannis was not working. So in the second half, he made a quick decision that I have to play with a more mobile lineup, and we have to switch. We need those big bodies there. And also, Giannis Larenzakis all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Tyler Dorsey wasn't really working in the game plan. He had some
6
issues.
6 points, 1 of 5 3-pointers.
So Itoudis decided I'm going to go for Larenzakis because he has a lot of passion and he's going to do some damage for Czech Republic. And that's what he did.
You mentioned this Giannis 2019 and Giannis 2022 thing, and I asked it Coach Ginsburg, and in his nice English he said, okay, he's so shooter, but what he emphasized and what kind of relates to your thoughts, that he improved a lot in passing. That's probably the biggest difference, and he became way more calmer. Of course, he got stronger, but now he reads the game better. So that's the biggest improvement, and of course, that's a huge improvement. Talking about Greeks' chances to finish the tournament winning EuroBasket, for example.
But it just shows how phenomenal Giannis Antetokounmpo is. You're preparing your defense, your whole plan, just to stop one player, and you're gonna live with the other 4 players shooting, even if they're wide open. But there's no other way. If you leave Giannis like 1-on-1 in ISO against Vesely without help from weak side and strong side, he's gonna go for 80 or I don't know how much. Wow, I mean, I'm so impressed. The impact that he has on the court, you cannot even measure it. It goes above any limits.
I was also impressed by the energy of another Antetokounmpo, Thanassis. I mean, I cannot. My energy level just never can match his energy level. I mean, he's shouting all the time. He's already fired up during the national anthem. Then he's getting this technical because he's kind of screaming at fans for after the good play, but he's doing it in the front of Czech Republic bench. So
he would be a perfect ultra in the stands.
Oh yes, he would be that guy, the leader with water polo hat or what
beating the drum.
Yeah, beating the drum. And I think I didn't see it's on the replay. I didn't have the TV at that moment, but it was before the fourth quarter when I saw coaches. It was the break, 2-minute break before quarters, between quarters, and coaching staff, they just went a little bit far away from the players, discussing some things what they should address during the timeout. And I think that Thanassis approached them, took the board, when you do all these sets, came to the players and just shouted and explained something, and I was like, okay, Thanassis, I'm not so sure if you're the highest IQ player, but of course with this passion, maybe there was something to address, maybe there was something to point out, because the game was very close. Czech Republic was up by 4, so probably was more related about motivating his teammates. But I mean, he's always up during the game. He never sits, and that of course irritates all these referees who are killing benches with all these technical
I remember
calls.
Him being like this in Panathinaikos, and he's like this in Milwaukee. Milwaukee Bucks are probably paying him to just. It doesn't matter if you're going to play 2 minutes, 1 minute, or maybe 10 minutes, but do your part on the bench, because that's where you're so great for the team.
I love players who are so active at the bench, but of course sometimes, not everybody kind of accepts it.
It's risky.
And it might be an issue.
Yes.
Yeah, so, but I hope in Greece it works well.
Yeah.
I think that's all. We have 4 quarterfinal.
Oh,
yep.
Sorry, one more thing.
Yeah.
Didn't you have like a funny feeling watching Nick Calathes going against Tomasz Satoransky?
And
after having that discussion with Eric McCollum and Mike James
and
in
then
their podcast.
There was this amazing play when they both, it was probably third or fourth quarter, when I think they both went down to get the ball, and I think Satoransky somehow managed to grab it and did this behind the back no-look pass. Amazing assist. One of the better assists.
One of the best point guards in the EuroLeague, going against the player that's replacing him in Barcelona.
Man, but both were good. Nick made
good.
3-pointers, and Satoransky, of course, he dished 17 assists. Both are performing at the top level.
Yes, Nick Calathes
amazing.
He had a really good game, yeah.
And for the quarterfinals, which start on Tuesday, we have Germany-Greece. We just got the news that Wagner is questionable, but it should be game time decision. There's expectation that he might play. Voigtman was feeling sick, that's why he didn't practice, but let's hope that he will play. Spain-Finland, also the game on Tuesday. We'll see how Sergio Scariolo will try to contain Markkanen. Slovenia-Poland. Yeah, exactly. France-Italy, very uncomfortable opponent for France, but maybe they're gonna do the better job than Serbia and Bigs. What would be our very, very quick thoughts? What we are waiting for in the quarterfinals?
I'm waiting for Germany, Greece, because it's gonna be a sold out with Greek fans and German fans first of all, and I'm curious to see what they will be capable to do against Giannis building that wall, because they're gonna have to do more or less the same things that Czech Republic did, and how they will click on offense. Will they be able to punish Greece with their big shooting threes and all that stuff? Greece is the obvious favorite, but Germany at home,
they're dangerous. I just
never
know
know.
that Wagner will be 100%.
We need Franz Wagner to have.
We need all the players.
The best game possible. Spain, Finland. I expect Sergio Scariolo actually find some smart decisions. Lowry will obviously score. He's a scoring machine in FIBA, but I'm expecting Spain to go through to the semifinals. Slovenia, Poland, as you said.
Yeah, let's just hope.
And France, Italy, we will see a lot of passion on the court. We will hear those spectacular national anthems. Vincent Collet has to make some decisions, preparing the game plan for how he's going to defend a team that has 5 shooters on the court. And we'll just see whether Italy has enough left in the tank to surprise us once again. Because that win against Serbia, it felt like they won a final. But this is just the quarterfinal stage. And obviously they're dreaming about the medals, but again, you need to go against all odds because Italy is not the favorite. But that will be probably the most interesting game for me out of all four quarterfinals. What do you think?
Could be. I just love Germany.
Germany,
I like
Greece,
the way
yeah.
they play, and as you said, the gym will be packed. Amazing Greek fans also are here. I mean, Giannis just brings way more excitement. So, I just hope that quarterfinals will be as exciting as the round of 16 was. And for sure, we'll discuss the quarterfinals the following day of the last quarterfinal game. Thanks for watching us. Rytis Vyšniauskas, Donatas Urbonas. Follow us on BasketNews.com YouTube channel. And just quick reminder to press this like button because it really helps us to grow, and subscribe if you didn't do it before.
Thank you, guys.
See you soon.
Hey, everyone.
Hey fans, Pau Gasol here.
Courtside 1891 is your home to stream EuroBasket 2022. Visit Courtside 1891 today.
Don't miss the action, live or on demand.